Hello and welcome back to Red Zone Report, aka Football Psychotics. Our passion, your entertainment, new era. I am Jordan Rossell here with my co-host Carlos Magdaleno, and we are your ultimate destination for all things Husker football, college football, NFL football, and all sports news. What do you got for us, Carlos?
So, if you guys listened to last week, we talked about score predictions, who we thought would win each game, and we kind of got your guys' thoughts. We posted out through our story on Instagram, kind of got your thoughts on who would win each matchup. And we're going to continue to do that, and we'd like your insight. But with this podcast, we're going to kind of preview the Purdue game, look forward to the Rutgers game, and kind of go forward on with this next week of college football and just trending topics just all around sports in general. So if you guys want to get our insight, stay tuned, and this is the place to be. So don't miss out.
This is the place to be. Like he said, we want to hear from you. Obviously, your feedback gives us, topics to debate or talk about. Like you said, we posted on YouTube. We can be watched on YouTube. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the streaming networks out there. Again, our Instagram handle is rz.reports. Go check us out. Give us a follow. Subscribe to our YouTube. Show us some love, and we will definitely debate your thoughts and your comments on whatever you want us to talk about. So, I guess diving in, we'll jump right into our first segment, recapping last week against Purdue. I'm gonna have to start off by saying that it was a very weird feeling game.
Very.
Throughout the game, I didn't know how to feel. There's a lot of highs and lows. Let's just start off with the first half. Obviously, it was not one of our better halves that we've played. I don't know if that was, whether it be because it was a first away game, was it the loss that we were coming off at home? Not sure, but we had some pretty letdown stats, including 0 for 6 on third down, 0 for 3 on field goals, which we'll get there and talk about that. 2 block field goals in those 0 for 3. Costly penalties that killed drives. No rush game. We averaged 3.8 yards a carry. Purdue, although averaged 2.5. Not good enough. And the most disappointing part, we had 11 penalties in the first half for 94 yards. But get this, Purdue had 13 for 165. They outplayed us in the penalties.
Yeah. By the end of the game, yeah, they did.
It was insane.
End up
It
having a
was
lot.
such a messy game. The third downs, 0 for 6 on third downs were it was very disappointing to watch. Just every drive that we kept getting, you'd get your hopes up, big play here, big play there. Then it'd get shut down on a third down. We wouldn't convert. We'd run the ball and get stuffed, or just silly mistakes.
Yeah.
That goes back to the costly penalties. You think about a holding call or a false start call. We're getting these calls on 6-year seniors, COVID seniors, redshirt for seniors. You know what I mean? So it's like a curse that we'll always have, and it's very sad to even say. It's
Well,
all
the thing that bothered me the most in the first half is that we had over 200 total yards. We beat them in every category,
hands down.
and especially penalties. They had already had over 100 yards after the first half, and we still had 0 points on the board. That's the thing that bothered me
Yeah.
the most, which obviously goes back to our special teams. We'll talk about that. But that's just something that can't happen when you're in the Big Ten.
No.
And it just drives me up a wall. Just like I was on my couch watching the game, and I was just like, "Come on!" Like
Our
I don't even know
stats,
if I can watch this game. Like this hurts. It hurts being a Nebraska fan watching that kind of performance. I know a lot of the penalties, a lot of the calls were not our way, but it's just like the way you watch Nebraska play the last 4 weeks or 3 weeks, it just hurt. It was like,
I know. And just looking at the stats, you would not think that we didn't score in that first half. We had stats that were scoring stats, and it's just, I don't know. It was disappointing. Moving on to the field goal kicking, that was complete. I don't even know what to say. Bleep that. But
just I will say a lot of people will blame the field goal kicker for that. But me personally, I'm going to blame the snapper for it.
yep, for sure.
I both of the field goals, the first two field goals that I saw that he missed was just like ground and straight up like hit the ground. Can't get him turned. Can't get the ball turned around. I mean, that's where it starts. Is like is if your snapper can't snap the ball, I mean, you can't expect to make
Yeah.
field goals like that.
Yeah. I mean, on the first field goal, he had a chance. He obviously got it
Yeah,
off and he just pulled it. But
yeah,
the other two, it's just the snap's not there. Obviously, the interior line needs to do a better job not getting those balls hit or blocked. I saw a funny, it was a tweet that said they go out and get a field goal coach, aka Brett Maher. Why don't they go out and get a snapper coach? Talking
yeah.
about Ortiz from last year.
Oh yeah, Marco Ortiz.
Mark
Yeah,
Ortiz. So, and I mean, I don't think he's. I think the deal was that he had some, camps or lessons or something, and obviously we need those. So,
somebody does on this team.
somebody, get him paid to come come teach him a lesson or something.
Yeah,
But yeah, that was very disappointing. I mean, yeah, it's just that was 9 points that we left out there. At
yeah.
least, you know
I
what I
mean,
mean?
just like that. I mean, that's like if you're playing like an Ohio State or a Michigan
Yeah,
or the USC in Iowa, those points matter.
game
Like you
changers. Yeah,
you can't not let those go. I mean,
no.
it's just that's and if we've known that for the past 5 years, and it's crazy that we're still struggling
Yeah.
with that.
And I mean, that goes
But
back to our debate last week on if it's, fourth and three or on the 20-yard line, tie ball game, are you putting your kicker out there? Like, after this week, I feel like the answer is pretty definite. I mean,
yeah,
I don't like our chances there right now, anyway. I
wow.
feel like we can get better. Obviously, we need to get better to, play in those big games coming up down the road. Because those, like you said, those 3 points could be the deciding factor of win or lose. So,
Yeah, and well, considering his point coming into this season was chasing three, to me that don't look like it's chasing three.
no.
I mean that means that mean to me that looks like you're losing three,
Yeah.
you're losing six, you're losing nine.
Yeah. I had a
I
buddy
mean,
I had a buddy text me at halftime and said, chasing three dot 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 points. Like
yeah.
we
I
couldn't
mean
even score
that
three
that's what
points.
it looked like. That's what it looked like, and that's the problem.
Yes, let's talk about that flag penalty that Thomas Fidone, I believe, got crossing the middle of the
Yeah,
field.
that one is
Called back a
very
touchdown.
controversial.
Should have been a touchdown. I don't know. They said he clipped a guy, but we watched the replay over and over.
What I saw was like I don't remember exactly how it went, but it was like if Ramir Johnson was over the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage. I don't. It was one way or the other that he wasn't. It was like if he was across the line of scrimmage, then it wouldn't have been a flag, or if he was behind the line of scrimmage, it wouldn't have been a flag. And I don't remember how it went, but I remember the announcers talking about that, like because he was this or that, then it wouldn't have been a flag. But either way, I didn't see Thomas Fidone touch the guy at all.
No, I didn't either.
I mean, it's just a tough play. And
Thomas
Matt Rule
Fidone
said
literally.
he sent that in and made phone calls about what they thought on that play and how that play they think should have went, and just stuff like that.
So did he get feedback on that, or what did you hear on that?
That one I'm not sure. I just heard that in the press conference that he sent it in. He wanted to know what other people, whoever he called, whoever he made phone calls to, thought about it. I don't know what he said. He didn't say much on the press conference. He kept it pretty short. So
Yeah. No,
I
I
don't
mean
know. I guess I mean that's
that one hurt.
those refs were a little bit different. I will
And
say
it's so hard to blame the refs. I hate blaming the refs.
it is.
And I feel like that's just one that they cannot make that call. And they even reviewed it. But apparently
Yeah,
I don't think it was, they could change the call on the field because of the flag.
and to like step in for the refs' defense, I think it was just really that sloppy of a game.
It was. I mean,
It was just like it was one thing after another. They were calling false starts. You look at the replay, yeah, you see it.
yep.
I mean, it's
Yep.
just that's the way it was, and it was pretty ugly in the first half,
Yep.
to
So
say the least.
back to, those penalties, Bryce Benhart, we had a 4th and 1 and we had
Yeah,
momentum.
God.
We had momentum. And it was, in the first half, we had a long drive going, 4th and 1. He decides to, keep the offense out there, and he went for it. And Bryce Benhart, false start.
It
And
hurts. It hurts a lot.
that's one of our 6-year guys that he's played so many snaps. I mean, it's got to be up there in the records how many snaps he's played.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's on record to have the most
That's what I was
snaps as
thinking.
a lineman for Nebraska.
Yeah,
Last I knew, that's what it was. But
you
it
cannot
just
fold
hurts
in those
because
times.
yeah, and it just hurts because I feel like he. I don't want to put the blame on him. I'm not putting the
No.
blame on him, but I feel like a lot of our penalties, it seems like a lot of them come from him, and I don't know why. I don't know what the factor is there,
Yeah,
but it seems like there's a lot that comes from him
right.
just on that outside.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. Maybe he's just getting burnt on the edge. I don't know.
yeah,
It's just what it is, I guess.
right.
But they'll learn. They'll pick up from there. But
My
we'll
next
see.
thing, I'd say Tommy Hill coming off that plantar fascia inflammation in his foot.
Yeah.
He was not able to go. He did go out during warm-ups, practiced on it, whatever. Thought he was going to go. Game time decision. Decided not to go. Stepping in for him though, Sierra Wright. He played a heck of a game. Physical,
Yep.
physical,
High energy.
and he showed out. I mean, he did get an injury in the first half. It was like a knee injury, and he got a cut to his face.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
mean, I think somebody else had a cut to their face as well, if I don't recall.
All
You wanna
right.
show it out
So
here?
let's
Somebody
see.
got attacked by a
Here we
bobcat
go.
on the way home from work.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's just say it wasn't good.
Should have saw the other guy. But yeah, he played well. I mean, he stepped in. He played really well. And then moving on to the second half, I guess it definitely felt like a completely different game. We had all the momentum.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we finished with 418 yards compared to their 224, so almost doubled their yardage. Passed for 257 compared to their 174, and we averaged 9.5 yards per play. So, I mean, it was crazy to see like what happened at halftime. Like what changed? I don't get it, but I mean, that
And
was the football team we wanted to see in the first half.
yeah, it honestly blew my mind coming out the second half. I saw they go up, they get a field goal. We come back and score, and then we make them punt. We go down and score again.
Yeah,
We get the pick six by John Bullock.
huge.
It was just like a domino effect
Right.
almost, but like it didn't seem like it should go that way because of how fast it happened. It was crazy because the way the whole first half went, you would have thought by both teams you would have thought it would have been a total of like 10 points at the most.
After that first half,
And
yeah.
then yeah, and then out of nowhere, we got 14, and then John Bullock picked six. We got 21,
Yeah.
and it just happens that fast, and that's college football, and that's the way I love it. I
No, I
mean,
know, right? I
that's
mean,
how
they
college
said we
football
scored
is.
14 points in less than a minute. Like we scored
Yeah,
that touchdown, and then I think it
yeah.
was second down that he threw that pick six to John Bullock.
I think it was like right around like 30 seconds,
Yeah,
33 seconds or something like
it was
that.
quick, and that
Yeah,
puts it at +4 on the turnovers on the year, and that's
yeah.
huge, huge steps from last year.
Very big.
I mean, if we think
Yep.
about last year, 4 games into the season compared to this year, 4 games in the season, like it's night and day, man. Like it's crazy. But another thing I wanted to point out are two leading tacklers were Sierra Wright and Makai Bear, two
Yep.
young guys showing
Yeah.
out, which is good to hear for the future of Husker football. Young guys stepping up, playing the role, taking on those big times, and making plays. So I mean, it's really good to hear that those young guys stepping up. So
Yeah, I think it's really good for Tommy Hill to be out and knowing you can rely on another guy going in
hmm
that's that young because Tommy Hill's a senior. He's gonna be gone next year.
yep,
You're gonna have to have a guy step up next year. It's good seeing a guy that can go in, make plays, have high energy,
right,
no matter what the play is. He goes in, he gets hurt. He's ready to go back out. He wants to get back out. He's ready to play football, and that's the way you want to see it.
all right. I've got two
That's
more
it.
things based on that game. One's not necessarily dependent on that game, but the first one We talked about it a little bit on the phone. The PI calls that we were getting that were favoring us, keeping drives going. We talked about Dylan, and is he like high IQ placing that ball to get those penalties?
Yeah, that's I
Like,
also I read a comment today and it was like one thing I could see Dylan doing better is placing the ball better, giving the wide receivers more room to work when he throws it up top.
yeah,
And then I saw a lot of comments below it. It was like, yeah, he needs to do this and that and throw it over top so his wide receivers can go get it. But I saw also a few comments that was like, I think he's doing it on
that's what
purpose.
I'm saying. Like,
And that's the take. That's what I'm gonna give him. Is like I think he might be doing it on purpose because he sees what the defense is giving him,
yeah,
and he sees that his wide receivers are going,
they beat the
and
corner.
the DBs can't catch up.
Yeah,
So they have to no other choice but to hug the wide
and jump
receiver,
back
and
into the
that
guy.
brings them back.
It's
So
just
I see it as he's throwing it, and especially when it's one on one, it's man to man. Why wouldn't he throw it short? Because he knows that guy isn't going to be able to keep up.
especially on like third and long when you need something to keep the drive going. Like that's high IQ from a freshman quarterback. I get that, sometimes if we've got him beat, why not use his arm strength, get the ball out there, make him go get it. But I mean, he's keeping the drives alive by doing that, so I can't really blame him for that. My next topic, we had one player that was supposed to go on the flight to Purdue and suit up and play the game, but he ended up not on the flight. Everybody, all the Husker fans were, patiently waiting to hear what was the move, what happened. Micah Mazuka, who was arguably one of our better linemen, did not make the trip to Purdue, did not suit up,
Right.
obviously. And then we found out in the press conference today that he was suspended. So, I mean, in the press conference, just
Yeah.
no one really touches on what happened. All we know is that there was a suspension for a week. I guess what else have you heard on that?
The only thing I've heard is like he's got some discipline issues. He was suspended for that game, obviously, like you said, and just the one thing that caught me off guard was Matt Rule saying that he was a backup lineman. He's one of our backups, but
That's what I
the
don't
thing that
understand.
threw me off guard is like I saw him in the first couple weeks, he was our best lineman. If he wasn't our best lineman, he was number two.
Yeah, that's what I'm
So
saying.
that kind of threw me off guard, and I don't know if he's just saying that maybe out of frustration of him not like being up to the standard,
Right.
or what happened there. I don't know, but
Yeah, I mean, I could see it. I mean, he's coming from Florida to Nebraska. It's got to be a big culture change for him. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'd be curious to know what actually happened and what's going on there. But yeah,
right.
I mean, he's supposed to suit up this week. Uh,
He's available.
he is available. Yeah,
He was available against Illinois.
but
He didn't go, but
Rule states that he
it's
is
just
for sure second string. So I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens there, and touch
yeah,
back on that next week. But
yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's all I got for segment one. Unless you got anything else you want to touch on, but
Don't have a whole lot for segment one.
yeah, we kind of covered it
That's
all.
pretty much it.
Yep. So
But what I do have for you is our next segment. We're going to be previewing the Rutgers. We're going to give you a little bit of information, a little bit of insight on what Nebraska needs to do, a little bit of how Rutgers work going into this next week, and what Nebraska needs to do to change the game and stop their run. Obviously, because they have Kyle Manning Gay. No, not gay. He's not gay. My apologies. I mispronounced that name. Manning Guy, if you will.
cool.
Right now, he has over 500 yards on the top end.
Yeah.
He has 6 TDs.
Man's a
He's
unit.
making a name for himself in the Big Ten. He's hard to stop, as you can see if you've not watched any of the Rutgers games. They're 4-0 coming into this game at home. So my question to you, Jordan, is what will it take for Nebraska to stop this, and what will it take for Nebraska to win this game altogether?
I don't know. So Scarlet Knights, right? What even is a Scarlet Knight? Like, I don't even know.
I couldn't tell you.
It's a poor mascot. I don't know. It's like, who have they even played is my question. Who has tested them? I don't want to underestimate their abilities. They are 4-0. They're a 4-0 team. I do believe they're a good team. But I think it's going to come down to us, controlling their run. I don't think they really have a pass game. They're very much run first, run first team. So that's going to work in our favor. We just have to stop it. I mean, we've got to get off the field on third down. We've got to force the turnovers. And I just think capitalizing on what they're giving us, and not only just taking what they give us, but taking what we want, making it our game. We got to run the ball all over them. Our running game was not the best last game against Purdue, but I feel like we got to get that going early. And then obviously let our pass game just, show off. I feel like at home, this will be, work in our favor. Homecoming night, there's usually a really good crowd for that. A lot of donors come to this game, stuff like that. So there's a lot of hype behind the game. 3 o'clock kickoff. We are favored by 7, which I thought was very, I thought it was a little high for us, but I'll take it. After the
Yeah.
performance last week, I was guessing, anywhere from 5, 4, 5, something like that. But I'll take
And I
7.
guess what to like to go back on before you keep going to go
Yeah,
back on what you said about us changing the run game. I think we really need to change the run game
yeah,
considering their defense is giving up 6.7 yards per carry on the ground.
yeah.
I think that's huge. I mean, you have like
We
you
have to take
literally
it.
can you have to take it,
Yeah,
and that's huge for Nebraska because with a guy like Dylan, and you open up that passing game for him. I
absolutely. And
mean,
all of our weapons around them, like if we get that run game going early, they're gonna have to roll down another safety or roll somebody in the box to cover that,
and
which opens
it'll
up.
completely make their defense a little more complex. They'll have to kind of game plan during the game, which
Yeah,
is exactly what a defense does not want to do.
no,
You don't
absolutely.
want to have to change things during and mix things up. So that's what I will say about Rutgers with their defense. But along with that, they're also third in the nation in red zone defense. How do we change? Like, what needs to change for us to not be in the red zone? Because what I thought about is, we get in the red zone, we get stopped. It's 4th and 5. We go to kick a field goal. Then what?
We don't want that. We don't want to be put in that situation.
We're 4th and 5 on the 20, and we don't want to kick a field goal, but we don't want to go for it.
No, I know
Then
that's
what?
that's not the ideal situation, and hopefully we don't, get into that situation this weekend. But I just feel like, I feel like they did a little bit of it last week, where we're kind of taking, a little play out of Andy Reid's playbook at Kansas City. The play calling is, becoming more, you know,
Definitely more
it
open. You
is,
see it.
and you're seeing more guys get in the game in different ways. Like
It
I think to
definitely.
back to Carter Nelson, they gave him the ball at the
Yeah.
2 yard line, and
Yeah.
he
That
tried to
threw me
jump
for a
over.
loop.
Like,
That threw me for a loop. I thought Quentin Ives was in there, and
yeah,
then I go back and I watch the replay and I see Carter Nelson. I'm like, what is going
yeah,
on?
and I mean, just like all the trick plays with Ja'Cory Barney, like he's got to be a factor in this game. We've got to use him on the edge. He's unstoppable. Speaking of that play, sorry, I just thought of this play. Alex Bullock, did you see that play? That Alex Bullock, it was a jet sweep. Alex Bullock blocked two
Yeah.
different guys.
Yeah.
Like that went unnoticed, and I
Yeah.
think I think Matt Rule did talk about it in his press game conference. But like that was huge. So we have to have more
Yeah.
explosive plays like that can catch him off guard a little bit, especially if
And
we're getting into those situations that we're third and long or fourth and medium kind of thing. But
yeah, and it seems like you have to have everybody contributing and everybody in sync at the same time.
yeah,
Because if not, I mean, you see the plays against Colorado, you see the plays against UNI, they all get called back because not everybody's on the same page.
right,
There's people holding, there's people getting blocking the backs.
yep,
That's something you don't want to see. But an offense, you kind of see that progressing. Ja'Cory Barney's starting to get in the end zone. He's starting to get more yards. and not having penalties. So that's exactly what you want to
Thomas
see. And
Fidone got the ball a little bit more this game. Getting different people in the game, they're set on Isaiah Nair being our guy, our go-to guy. And obviously, he didn't get the ball much last game, so we've got to
no,
find other ways to get other people involved. And I think Thomas Fidone stepped up in a big way. Ja'Cory Barney stepped up in a big way to, fill
Jamal
that role.
Banks.
Jamal Banks did as well. Yes. So
See, that's what I love about Nebraska's offense is that, people see the week before, okay, this is their top guy.
yeah,
But the next week, we could have a top guy almost anywhere on the field. You could have Ja'Cory Barney, you could have Jalen Lloyd, you
yep,
could have Jamal Banks.
we've got them all over.
You have, yeah, and the best part about it is Dylan looks through his reads. He could go to any guy on the field, so
Absolutely.
he's not just like get the ball, snap it. He's looking for this one guy. No, he will see anybody that's open,
Right.
which is very nice for Nebraska, and
Yeah, and I feel like that's
they'll
something
take
we haven't
advantage.
had in previous years. Like it's always
Right?
been
Yeah.
usually that one go-to guy.
The way that I see is like when I play Madden.
Yeah,
The way I play Madden is like pre-snap. I'm like, okay, I'm going to this guy.
yeah,
So I snap the ball. I hike it. I go deep. That's
exactly.
it. And that's the way I see Nebraska's offense previous years.
Uh,
Not bashing anybody. I'm just saying that's the way it came out.
yeah. So I guess let's run through these stats. I had some stats down. We'll kind of touch on some of them. Points per game, they're averaging 36. We're averaging 30. So obviously, not allowing them to get 36 points would be the goal here. They're
And
Go ahead.
and I think with our offense or our defense not giving up very many points, and as long as the key here is as long as they can stop that run game, I think we will be okay with not letting them get probably even over 20.
Yeah, I mean, we got to control the time of possession. We can't allow their offense to be on the field for most of the game. And I think,
Yeah.
I mean, our offense, it's a quick offense. We get down and we score, that kind of thing. But we need to get the ball back as soon as possible so we can keep scoring.
Yeah.
Their run on first down is 49 to our 41. So they are obviously a very run first team. Their third down percentage is 50%. Ours is 45. We'd like to see that number go up. Obviously, going 0 for 6 in the last game brought that number down, but
That hurt.
that did hurt. Total first downs, they're at 95, and we're at 119. So that's big. Obviously, we're moving the ball. We've got weapons all over the field that we can move the ball. Passing yards per
Yeah.
game, they have 190. We have 261. So that's also huge. Big pros to Dylan and getting to the two of the guys and making that happen. Rush yards per play is 5.3 was theirs and 4.3 is ours. So obviously we've talked about this the whole time. They're a run first guy. Kyle Managi. Is it Managi? What is it? Man and guy.
Man and guy.
Man and guy. There it is. There it is.
Man and guy, get it right there, kid.
Managi. Something. Whatever. Call me Steve Simple. Yeah, he's running the ball well. I mean, they're averaging 5.3 yards per play. So that's pretty good. We'd like to keep that, down a little bit. Rush yards per game, they're at 237. That cannot happen this weekend.
No.
We are at 144, which isn't bad. I'd take 144 every game because of what we do through the air. Obviously,
Yeah.
it makes up for that.
Yeah. And that's another thing is like the way I see the Rutgers is I see that they have that for rushing, but their pass game doesn't balance it out well.
Right.
It's like that's what they have. If it don't work, then what?
Right.
I mean they have receivers out on the edge and they can make stuff happen. Things can go wrong, but
But their go-to guy, Kyle Managi.
that yeah,
Big guy.
man and guy is their guy.
Man and guy is the guy.
Is the guy.
guy.
He is their man and guy
Man and guy.
for that
He's the guy.
offense.
Yes. Last stat that we'll touch on, not necessarily a good stat. Penalties. They have 16 penalties for 131, and we have 40 for 368 yards. 40 penalties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And once again we have over 10 penalties for the second straight week.
Yep.
Big 10, not going to happen. The only reason why Nebraska kept that chance in the Purdue game is because Purdue had 13 for 165 yards.
Yeah.
65 yards is
Yeah.
absolutely astronomical.
It is.
Like you can absolutely not
It
have that in the
is.
Big Ten. And that if you have that much, I mean, you better count on not winning
No,
if
I
you have
know.
that many
I
penalties for
mean,
that yards.
we can't expect Ohio State, USC, Iowa to have that many penalties and us
It
still
won't
win.
happen.
So like we've got
It
to clean
won't
it up.
happen. It
Simple as
won't
that.
happen.
So,
Yeah.
that ends it for segment 2. All right, now on to segment 3, which is probably one of my favorite segments. 6 in
For sure.
60. Our little quick quiz for all the games of the week. Carlos is going to start out by asking me, touch on our stats from last week, Carlos. You
Yeah,
want
and
to share
as you
those?
see, you'll see those below.
Yep.
You'll see what the record is. You know, I did not do as well. Jordan did better than I
Yeah.
did. You know, I took a little bit of the hot takes of the weekend.
What's our record, huh?
I'll just say I gave Jordan the better of the
What's
games.
our record? Yeah. Yeah, you can see
We'll
it
see.
right below here. Right below. You remember that. All right.
But moving forward, we're going to do the segment once again. I'm going to give him 6 games. He has 60 seconds to answer who he thinks is going to win, and then followed by me. We will get straight into it. Jordan, here's your first one.
You got a timer ready,
Here's,
so let's get it.
I have the timer
It'll be shown
ready.
here on the
You can
screen.
put it down below, and let's do it.
All right. What do you got?
Starting now. Syracuse versus UNLV.
Ooh, I think this will be a good game, but UNLV is hot. NIL topic behind all of it. They've got a lot of backups in. They're going to take it.
Okay, we got USC at Minnesota.
It's at Minnesota, but I think USC comes back and they take it. Minnesota played well against Michigan, but USC takes it.
Okay. Iowa, Ohio State.
Ohio State, hands down. I cannot pick Iowa. Ohio State. Enough said.
Fair enough. Tennessee, Arkansas.
Give me Rocky Top.
All right. Missouri, Texas A&M. That's a hot one.
That's gonna be a good game. I think Texas A&M is ranked now, but I think Missouri takes it.
Okay, and last, Oregon versus Michigan State.
Oregon versus Michigan State. I think Oregon's too explosive on the offense, so Oregon takes it.
All right, that's good.
Yes,
You just hit it. Just hit it.
that's 6
Just hit
right
it.
there. 6.
All right.
All right, now is my turn to ask Carlos the questions. You let me know when you're ready. You got a timer ready, and we'll display it here on the screen again, like we said.
Yep, and we're ready. We're ready.
Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Start on
Yep.
my first question, all right? And first question is Louisville SMU. Who do you got?
Louisville, SMU. Louisville came off a tough loss. I still think Louisville takes it. SMU's a good team, but Louisville takes
It's going to be
it.
a good game. Miami Cal.
Miami, Cal. Ooh.
Yeah.
Miami, tough game. I think Miami still takes it,
All
though.
right, all right. Next game, UCF Florida.
UCF, Florida. I think UCF takes it. I think they go into Florida. They take it away from them. They show where Florida's at.
Yeah, there you go. All right, next game, Texas Tech, Arizona.
Texas Tech,
Noah
Arizona.
Fafita.
I don't know if Texas Tech can handle Arizona, and Noah Fafita's high flying air raid. So I'll take Arizona.
All right, Ole Miss, South Carolina.
Ole Miss, South Carolina. I get Ole Miss. They
Right.
come off tough loss. They're out for they're revenge themselves. So
Yeah, all right. Last game, Auburn, Georgia.
Georgia, easy. Georgia,
Even off the lose?
Georgia, all the way.
Even
Georgia.
off the loss from Alabama. Just got it. All right, well, that concludes our 6 and 60 segment 3. We will move on to segment 4, which is our studs and duds. I will let Carlos go first. Give me your stud.
So my
Hear it.
stud this week. If y'all want to hop on the hype train, if y'all want to get on it,
Let's hear it.
now's the time. I think Luther Burden,
Oof.
the third, going to be a stud this
All
week.
right.
They're going to go into Texas A&M. Missouri's going to dominate. I think Luther Burden's going to show up because, as you've seen, he's not really made his mark yet this season. And, he's kind of been on the down low. I think this is the game where he really pops off,
Yeah,
gives a name for himself
like that.
like he did last year.
I like that. All right, who is your dud?
My dud, you might not agree with me, and most people might not.
Boy.
So I'm going to take Miller Moss as my dud.
Oof.
Miller Moss. He's gonna go into Minnesota.
All
You
right.
know, he's been traveling. You know, maybe he's getting tired. Maybe he's getting, I don't know. Maybe he can't
That's gonna be.
handle the adversity so much that that he's been taken. They've been kind of struggling a
They
little bit.
have. They had a.
So I'm gonna say, and then the way that Minnesota went into
Michigan
the
last week.
Michigan game
Yeah.
and they held with them that close, I think why not Minnesota could do the same thing
Yeah. I
against USC.
feel like that game's gonna be good at Minnesota. That'll be one to watch for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
My stud of the week. It's gonna be a hot take here. Brashad Smith, running back SMU. He has 70 carries for 509 yards, averaging 7.3 yards a carry.
That's dominant.
That's pretty dominant. So I'm saying that Louisville's going to drop this. SMU's going to win, and he is going to be a deciding factor in it.
That's a big upset.
That is an
But I
upset.
like it though because I
SMU.
love I they are hot, but statistically wise, that's an
Oh,
upset. But I think I could see that game going that way,
I could. It's going to be a good one to watch too.
especially with Louisville coming off a loss.
All right, so now my dud. People are not going to agree with me here because he has had a year already. Kyle McCord, quarterback, Syracuse. Yeah, you heard it
I
right.
don't see it.
You
I
heard
don't
it.
see it.
You heard it. They go into UNLV. Vegas boys. They're going to show him.
UNLV.
Yeah, they're going to show him what it's really like.
All right.
Yeah, you just wait.
We'll hold you to
UNLV.
that.
UNLV's going to come out on top. Kyle
So
McCord.
wait.
It's going to have.
Let's
He's
not
got two
down.
picks, less than 200 yards. Like, it's. I don't know. It's going to be a rough
So
game.
let's talk about our studs and duds from last week.
Oh, yeah. Let's do that.
So your stud was Michael Hawkins from
Yeah.
Oklahoma, quarterback.
Yeah,
I
what
will
can I
say
say?
he was a stud.
What can I say? First
Was a
SEC
stud
win. OU, baby.
in his first career start.
Yeah. He showed
I'll
out.
say that was pretty good.
That is like a
Yeah,
mini Kyler Murray out there. That boy can run.
yeah, he's doing his job. I will say that.
Your stud from last week, Ryan Williams.
Off, baby. I knew he would. I knew he was gonna come through. I knew Ryan Hollywood Williams was gonna come through for the team,
He
baby.
didn't come into the game much, he didn't do much early, but he had the
Which is
deciding
crazy because he still had 6 receptions, 177 yards, and came up with a touchdown on the biggest play
game-winning
of the game.
touchdown. Did you see that move though? Like that man
Well,
jumped, he jumped and spun at the same time, and I was like,
made those dudes kiss lips and
yeah,
spun on him like that. He like
it was
that.
crazy.
Him and the veneers and all, bruh.
And then so your dud obviously was not a dud. You had
He is
Riley
not.
Leonard. Yeah, he
Yeah,
he
he's
kind of
not.
he kind of had a pretty good game. He had two tutties,
Yeah.
17 for 23, 163 yards, and a rushing tutty.
And
Ah, you win
we'll go
you win
back to
some, you lose
your
one.
dud.
Hey, no,
We'll go back to your dud, bruh. Your dud, Garrett Nussmeyer.
I hate it.
Very
Hate it.
false.
I
By
hate
the
it.
way, going against South Alabama, that was a very hot take by Jordan. That was crazy. Saying
409,
Garrett Nussmeyer is going to
409 yards.
against South Alabama.
Yeah,
409 yards, two passing touchdowns, 23, 26 for 39.
I went out on a
I'd say
limb.
that.
I went out on a limb.
You did.
Another. That ends it for segment 4, studs and duds. Now we're moving on to segment 5, trending sports topics. I think our first one is pretty, shocking. Florida State, they come into the season ranked, and now they are 1-4 with DJ Ungale leading the way.
That is a very trending. Well, it was a trending topic, and I think it still can be after what has been going on. I don't
Now
think it's
it's.
Mike Norvell.
You don't think it's Mike Norvell? I think he's a good coach. I
I
kind of
don't.
like the guy, but
I love the way he coaches.
it's just a team morale thing. I feel like they're not all bought
I
in.
think,
They're not
yeah, I
all in
think
it
he might
together.
just be at their most important spot on the field.
It's bad. But
If
news
you
is
don't know, look because you'll see.
DJ Ungale is an or starter this week. He is not named the starter yet. So it could be, DJ Ungale back there. It could be their backup. And I can't
And
remember.
he's also playing his former team coming out of high school.
Yes.
Clemson.
Yep. So that's definitely a
We'll see.
topic that's trending. And Yeah, I mean they were ranked preseason, and they've laid an
Yeah,
egg.
they were at 10 before the season
Yeah,
started.
I mean coming off
Then they
last
go
year, people
down.
thought they should
You
be in
know
the college football playoff.
they lose to Virginia or the Georgia Tech. You're like, okay, well, they have
What?
another
Yeah,
game. And they go to then Boston College, was it like 28-13 or 20 something
yeah.
like 13? Then you're like starting to ask questions.
Like what's going on here? Yeah,
Yeah, and then everything just kind of falls apart. And then this last week, they get absolutely dominated by SMU. Then you're like, yeah, this team is cooked for the rest of the season.
no, yeah. They have looked
So,
bad. I mean, I hate to
yeah,
say it, but our next topic is the UNLV and the NIL controversy. What
that
do you
one
have
is a
there?
tough one. I I
I see
I
it.
see both
That's
sides.
what I yeah.
I hate that he left. I hate that that's what it came down to because he was playing so good.
Yeah.
Matthew Sluka, their quarterback, UNLV was doing so good. They started the season off. They were 3-0, maybe even 4-0 when he left. I think it was 3-0 when they
Yeah,
left.
because they just
3-0
over
when he
last week.
left, and he was just not getting the NIL deal that he had wanted.
Well, no, though he was promised. He was promised that money.
Yeah, they guaranteed him 100,000, and he was getting around 3,000, is what I heard.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. And that I mean that's
Um,
he said it was barely enough to cover his living expenses.
yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
I mean, I can't blame him for leaving,
yeah,
but at the same time, that is a I won't even take it. Just I will keep it very vague with just NIL because I think that's just the whole NIL thing. It's very vague. It's very open right now. There's a lot of loopholes. I feel like,
yeah. I mean,
and so I think that's where he kind of got cheated.
yeah. Dave
But at
Portnoy.
the same time, you don't want to see a player leave when
No,
he's balling out like that. He's doing good for him. They have a chance to be in the playoffs as a G5. You don't want to
serious
see
chance.
that. But then you see that running back. The running back the day after
Exactly.
does the same exact thing. That's when I think, it's not just NIL. It's obviously it's NIL, but you see that the staff isn't having loyalty
Right.
to their players like they say they will,
Yep.
which will drive players away from UNLV.
Right.
Which if you see that in the bigger picture, players are going to do that same exact thing to higher FBS teams. They're going to do that to teams like Georgia, Bama,
Right.
Oregon. That's what I hate about it, and things need to change
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
That's what I see it.
And you talked about how NIL is so vague. I feel like an issue that we're going to have. Dave Portnoy made a statement earlier,
Yeah,
and he said that he would spend up to $3 million to get Michigan a top five
yeah.
quarterback, and
See, that's a joke.
that's where it's like
That's
out
a
of
joke.
hand. You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
a joke. You cannot. See, you need to have a salary cap
oh yeah,
on every team in college football, whether their program's big, whether they're G5, maybe set their salary cap to maybe a little lower, but you need to have every FBS team at a certain salary cap so things like that don't happen because at that point it kind of is cheating because
yeah.
you have a fan that's a millionaire. He's just going to pay for that
That's
player's
not
way for
fair.
college.
That's not fair.
I think that's a joke. That's a
Yeah.
joke. If they want to play for this team, let them play for this team.
Right.
Let the program give them money, not an outsider like that.
No. No. And I think,
So,
I mean, having an allotted amount of money for each school to disperse however they want would kind of be the ideal way of going about it. And they control their roster size. You know, if they want to risk not having a big roster size and give people more money to have less people on the team, like that's a risk that, you know, their coaching staff has to make. And
yeah,
ultimately it's going to
if they
come down
want a
to,
quarterback, and no wide receivers, then
yeah,
that just may be what it is.
yeah.
But I mean, that's still it just don't sit right.
And
And as a college football fan, it's just not right
no,
to me. I think it should all just be their loyalty to a program, how a coach recruits you, how you feel within the
yeah,
program, not just based on, oh, I can go here
right,
and I can make $2 million if I go here.
yeah, no,
That's a joke.
yeah. And I feel like, I mean, we'll see where this goes, but it could potentially create another, staff member on coaching staff as on
Staffs, if you will.
coaching staff is. coaching staffs that just looks at NIL and managing the NIL in that aspect. But we'll see where that goes. Our next trending topic: Sam Darnold in the NFL. The Minnesota Vikings are hot. They just rolled Green Bay. They're they are 4-0. I mean, this man might mess around and win the MVP. He might mess around
He
and
might accidentally win something.
he might actually
He
win
might
the Super
actually he
Bowl.
might accidentally be the comeback player of the year. You never know.
This man was picked up because JJ McCarthy had a shoulder injury, and now he's a true
No
starter.
knee injury.
Knee injury, my bad. I thought it was shoulder.
No, it was MCL. He
MCL,
had
you're right. You're right.
MCL.
You're
He had
right.
to get surgery.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So, but yeah, I mean, Sam Darnold, who would have thought coming into this season that he would be?
And they're just rolling. They roll over the Texans. They roll over Green Bay.
Yeah, I mean,
They making money.
he's a top three
That's what they
quarterback in the
do.
league right now.
He balling,
He is.
and
Yep.
it is just as always. Justin Jefferson. He's always
Oh
balling.
yeah. I mean, with those
So
with those guys out there, it's hard. Yeah,
so hey, don't forget about them Vikings because they coming.
they are. Let's go Vikings. Up.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Look at this dude.
Get out of
Anyway.
here. The Heisman race right now. We heard a lot about it this weekend. Had some players have great games. Obviously, a guy that's playing both ways of the ball, Travis Hunter, had a week, and he gave us a little pose in the end zone that could
He did.
win him the trophy.
As Charles Woodson said, he would love to have another defensive guy back there with him
Yes.
in that commercial.
Yep. But then the next question is going to be, what's he going to play in the NFL? Defense or offense? Wow. Or is he going to play both
I don't
sides?
know. I think they're going to try him at both sides, but I
Yeah.
think very early they're going to figure out that it's going to be
One
one or the other.
Yeah, I think so.
And in this day and age, they see Deion Sanders. He
Right.
played both sides.
It's just different.
Different era of the game.
Yep.
Whole different era.
Yep.
You got guys being more physical than ever, but also, I feel like there's more injuries than ever too.
Right. Yeah.
Every game, I feel like every top player. If you look at NFL fantasy, man, you can't even get on your fantasy
No.
league without your half of your team being down.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
Another guy to watch, Jalen Milroe, had quite the game against Georgia.
he's hot.
Had quite
He's
the
hot
game.
right now. He's on fire right now.
Those would be probably my top two picks right now. If I had to come down to, right now.
But please don't forget about Ashton Junty.
Ashton
Don't
Johnson,
forget about him. He is on fire right now. Boise State running back.
Boise
If you
State
don't know
Blue.
him, you know him now. Get with the program. He's coming.
Yeah, he is looking pretty good, I will say. I want to
He's
see him
coming.
in a top game against the, big time top 25 game. See what he does.
They did play Oregon. They only lost by 3.
Yeah, and it.
But I'd like to see him in another game. I want to
Yeah.
see him pop off again
Yeah.
in a game that's pretty big for them.
Yeah, I do too. I want to see them play a tough game. Who would be your second pick right now? I already
My
know what you're going
second
to say.
pick. Who?
And I disagree
Who do you
with
think
you.
I'm gonna?
I disagree
Who
with
do you think
you.
I'm gonna say?
I
Whoa,
disagree
you don't
with
even know
you.
my first pick.
What?
You don't even know my first pick, bro.
You just said your first pick, Ashton Gentry.
I mean, he's not my first pick.
Okay,
I was just throwing
no
him out there.
particular order, but you know what I mean.
Okay. Yeah.
The man in orange and green.
Cam Moore, baby.
No.
You cannot sleep on Cam Moore.
Bust.
Yes, they had a tough game.
Bust.
Yes, they probably should have lost that game.
Bust.
And not probably. They should have. But the plays he's making is absolutely ridiculous. He's making it look effortless. And he's doing everything he needed to do coming from Washington State. He's doing it in the ACC. He's doing it against every single team that they play, making it look easy.
I don't know about that. I mean,
He is, bro. I mean,
you
come
know they
on.
should
Look
have
at
lost that
him.
game. Catch or no catch? Come on. We watched that together.
But that don't have to do with his Heisman race. Look at Colorado. You think Travis Hunter is all that great, but look how they doing. They not good.
I'm taking Colorado over Miami if they play tomorrow.
Are you nuts?
Dude, it's pass game versus pass game. Neither one of them have a run game.
Are you nuts?
We'll see.
Okay, I'm gonna put a poll out on Instagram. Who wins? Miami, Colorado.
No.
If they played
You know
today,
that's gonna be non.
Everybody-
You know that's gonna be biased.
Bias of what?
You know that's gonna be biased. You know where we're at.
Bias of
You
what?
know where we're at right now.
Exactly. Exactly. Who's going to vote more? You know who's going to vote more. You know who's going to vote for Miami and who's going to vote for
Yeah,
Colorado.
yeah, yeah.
Nobody's going to vote for Colorado because they know they ain't going to win.
All right. Well,
And you know it.
we will keep touching on this Heisman race and see what Cam Ward, Jalen Milroe, Ashton Gentry, and Travis Hunter do. Sorry, I drew a blank there. But anyway, we'll see what those guys
He
do.
can't. He stumbles on words.
See,
He
you
don't
just
even know
got
how to say his name. He's still thinking about that Colorado Miami game, bro.
I mean, anyway, I think
He
Quinn
crazy.
Ewers kind of lost his chance with his injury. Unfortunately, he had a good shot, but obviously with his injury,
Yeah, I think a hot take is he could climb back in there.
it's gonna like work against him all year though. You know what I mean? Like that's what's gonna be
But
tough.
the best part about Texas now being in the SEC is he has that chance to do
Yeah,
that still.
stats don't lie. I mean, if he
Because
can make it happen,
they play Alabama.
yeah,
They still do.
yeah, yep,
They play Georgia.
yep.
So
And obviously, Ole
we'll see.
Miss. Gosh,
Man, that was a tough game, and I will say I got that right on the 6 and
you
60.
did. I am surprised. Jackson Dart, he could be in the Heisman race. We'll see how the rest of the season pans out, but he's another guy to
But
watch.
the first tough team they
Yeah,
play, not great.
I know. I mean,
Not great.
Kentucky.
And it was even at home.
Anyway, so that will wrap up our last segment, and yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed listening to our second ever episode on Red Zone Report. But yeah, I mean, what else you got? You got anything else?
I don't have a whole
All
lot.
right.
If you guys want to stay tuned, get our predictions, get our 6 and 60s. Let us know your guys' 6 and 60s.
Yes.
If you guys play along with us, let us know. As the week goes on, we'll be posting stories. Don't forget to go look at those on Instagram at rz.report. You want to keep insight? Don't forget to tune in every week. We'll be here. Don't forget.
Don't forget, now available on YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify, all three platforms. Go watch it. Give us your feedback on our platforms, and stay tuned for next video. We out.
Peace out.